Hello and welcome to another week. Hope you can hear me over the rain because it's absolutely peeing it down. I'm sure it gets loud in these vans when it rains like this. It's a Monday, really good job booked in today, as I mentioned yesterday in the block. So I managed to get this job booked in on a Sunday, so I didn't have anything booked in on the Friday afternoon, which is when most jobs for Monday morning will be put on. I always like to have something booked in for the Monday, so you know what you're doing. But I didn't have anything booked in, so I left myself logged in, and over the weekend jobs popped up. I'm saying sometimes you quite get some good jobs because not many people are logged in, maybe not many people bid. So I picked up a job from Stafford, which is 20 miles up the road from me, from home, to London, NW5, northwest London, Kentish town. And this job is the first one I've ever done like this. It's a wait and return, which for me is great because you just keeps the dead miles down, doesn't it? So it's like two jobs in one with no miles in between. So that's the way I look at it. So it's 140 miles one way, 280 obviously wait and return. So at 75, short wheelbase job, at 75 pence a mile, it would have been 210, so I'd knocked a bit off just so you're not bang on 75 pence. Went in at 207, got the job. Only problem was I wasn't picking up till 10, which is a bit late, but I picked up at 10. I was all done by 5:30, 207 for the day, so for a Monday that's a good start for the week. It was picking up from a company that builds computers, high-end computers, and it was going to something studios. So I thought it was going to go to like the filming studios. A bit curious about this one. So I asked him when I got down there. I try not to be too nosy, but I was, having a bit of a chat with a guy, and he says, "Oh no, it's not films we do here. It's they design computer games." And he said the game had just been working on for quite a while. They'd released it 22nd of this month, but he couldn't tell me what game it was because it's all hush hush. So that's quite interesting. My oldest son's into gaming a bit, so something to tell him. Yeah, it's quite a straightforward job. Bit of traffic both ways, particularly on the way down. The police had stopped the traffic on the M1 both directions. So I thought, bloody hell, what's going on here? It might be here for ages, because when they do that, you don't have to call in the air ambulance to land and all sorts to you for an accident. I've been caught like that before. Only 15-minute hold up in the end. It turned out it was, couldn't believe this, ducks crossing the road. So, a load of ducks. What do you call a load of ducks? It's a gaggle of geese. I'm not sure what a load of ducks is. But anyway, we decided to cross the M1. So obviously they have to stop it because people try and avoid the ducks could call a massive pileup, couldn't it? So hey-o, and there's a bit of a traffic, but yeah, at least with this full day job there's no stressing. I'm not rushing to get there, get tipped, get back on the CX, get another job. You know what you're doing. It's just a chilled out day. There was a bit of traffic, which was nice. But one thing I want to quickly mention this is it got me thinking about insurance, because I had 10 of these workstations, which are basically the brains of the computer and the boxes that sit under the desk. There's 10 of them. My insurance, goods in transit's for 10k, £10,000 doing light haulage, and if I do Yodel or Amazon, if I ever did it full-time Amazon in a van, not flex, it's actually cost me for 25k. But I got thinking about these things in the back. They're probably several £1,000s each, maybe £3 or £4 each, I'd guess. Total guess, but maybe more. I could have had 30 or 40 grand's worth in the back. But that's, the ship has booked me, my goods in transit insurance are all on there, so I don't know what would happen if something happened, say it was a fire or crash, who knows, but it's a bit like that on the career exchange. Sometimes you just got to go with it. It also got me thinking about why people book same day or dedicated delivery. This wasn't a particularly massive rush job, but these boxes would have fitted on a pallet. But you're going to put 30 or 40 grand's worth of delicate computers on a pallet and trust it to a pallet network. You're not, are you? So that's another reason why people want dedicated same day. It's just high value loads. They want somebody to turn up in a van, strap it down properly, look after it. It's not going to get bashed about on a forklift. He doesn't know what's the value of the goods. So yeah, that was another take-in from today. So yeah, very straightforward day. I'm back at home now, so Monday night in my own bed. This is a bonus. So yeah, good day, good start to the week. Alright, morning. It's Tuesday morning now. Bit of a false start today. So actually had a job booked in this morning, and it wasn't a CX job, which was nice. First one I thought I'm going to have. It was a company I did all the government food deliveries for, so I spent 6 weeks working for them Monday to Friday. Since then they've phoned me on a few occasions, like offer me work, but I'm out tramping or whatever, it just didn't work out. But this one, because I stayed at home last night, I know I live where I live, and this job was in Aldridge. So yeah, we sent minimal details through, didn't even agree a price or anything, but I just went with it because it's kind of a good company, I trust them, I thought they were going to pay me alright. Turned up this morning, nice and early, go to goods out, dispatch, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's 3.4 metres the load, some kind of steel poles or something. My van's 2.97 max, so yeah, that's not going to work, is it? So I rang them and they've had to cancel me. It's a bit of a pain in the arse because obviously it's 8:30 now, got nothing booked in, nothing to do, so I'm back on the CX searching. This is how it goes. So I think I should definitely get a cancellation fee, but she's going to call me back later. Obviously she's got to arrange another courier now pronto, hasn't she, to keep the customer happy. Yeah, so it's a bit of a pain. It's going to be a decent job down to Bedford. Good chance of getting another job from Bedford. Right, Tuesday evening now, so quite a steady day. As it turns out, that company who cancelled on me, the one I did all the food deliveries for, they came through with another job, which was very shortly after they rang me. It was Walsall, which is like just down the road from where I was in Aldridge, but it was a shorter job, not quite as good a job. The good thing was, I spoke to the lady, I had the chance to actually speak to her. I says, because we didn't agree a rate for the morning job, says, what do you play? And she says, oh well, in your size van, we'll pay you 90p a mile. So I'm pretty chuffed with that, really happy with that. But as it happens, this job was only 30 something miles, so they gave me the basic, which is 40 quid, the minimum charge that they're going to give me. But that's good. That's a company now that's obviously know I'm reliable and stuff, and the first one I've had phoning me and offering me work and at 90p a mile. Yeah, I'll do as much work for them as I can. So that was a pretty straightforward job down to Colville, some perspex sheets for some cash point, stop the COVID. And then from there, a bit of a wait, and then I picked up a small van job down to, it wasn't very far away, it was about 4 miles from where I was, and it was down to the southeast, in between Felixstowe and Ashford, just off the M20. That was a real straightforward drive. Even the M25 was running free, and it's just a bit boring, to be honest, motorway. I started to get a bit bored of driving today, which is quite rare for me. Yeah, and then hanging around, I moved up to Ashford because it was kind of middle of nowhere, really, a bit in between the towns. Hoping to pick a job here, and I started to think to myself, I'll give it till 5 or just after, and then I'll move up to Maidstone, because much more chance of getting a job in Maidstone because you're closer to London, either for this evening or the morning. Luckily a job pinged up in Ashford for the morning, 8:30 pickup in Ashford, going to Rotherham, so obviously I was all over that. But it's a short wheelbase van job. I went in a bit cheap, I can't remember how many miles it is, I went in like 157 quid, which, looking at it, it's probably a bit on the cheap side for a short wheelbase job. Maybe I should have asked for more, but then I might not have got it. You always question yourself about this, I do anyway. But glad to have one booked in the morning, hopefully get up to Rotherham early afternoon, lunchtime-ish, and then I'm on 157 for tomorrow by then, which is pretty much what I've been averaging since I went back on the CX after lockdown. Today I did 160, so 40 in the morning, no, 165, 125 the afternoon job. So yeah, pretty steady day. think I'm going to go and get myself a pub lunch on this government eat out to help out scheme, get a half price meal, so find a decent pub now and get my head down. Right, Wednesday afternoon now, in a not so sunny Rotherham, so I failed on the old finding a cheap pub meal. Couldn't find a pub that was open or had spaces, so I gave up in the end. I had a chippy. I went to a chippy. Yeah, no, I tramped out yesterday in Ashford, Kent. It wasn't worth filming. I just tramped out on like a residential street just around the corner from Tesco's. Thinking was in the morning I can go to Tesco if I need a toilet. Get me meal deal for the day. So that's the first meal deal of the week. Made it to Wednesday before I got my first meal deal. Fair play to Tesco. There was one sole remaining gluten-free sandwich, so I got a sandwich and not a salad. So that's a good start to the day. Clear run. I picked up from this Railworks depot in Ashford, and it was delivering to the same company's depot in Rotherham. And it's one of them loads. It looked quite heavy stuff. There's like 2 generators, which are kind of like generators, hydraulic packs, and then a pallet with something on them. Just like big, massive chunks of steel, hydraulic rams, and I thought, bloody hell, that looks heavy. And sure enough, when they put the pallet down the van, rear end sinks down. I'm thinking, it looks a bit heavy. But when I actually looked, they gave me paperwork, which is always good because you don't have to write your own pod. I actually had the weights on there, and it was only like 670 kilograms. Yeah, and it didn't feel too heavy driving up. Clear run. Didn't even price in the Dartford charge either, but it's only £3. Clear run. No ducks crossing the M1 this time, so it was a clear run up the M1 straight to here, and got tipped pretty sharp really. They were on the ball. Sat now in another Tesco in, yeah, where was this? Rotherham, that's where I am. So yeah, tipped now, so waiting in Tesco, looking for jobs. But to be honest, it's quite nice. The last few weeks I've been down south. Seem to be heading down south all the time and south east. So I'm up north now. So not north, but Rotherham, Sheffield area. That's south for me. That's north for me. You know, it's definitely north. Yorkshire, so it's got to be north. By Eckers like. Yeah. So perch here, Rotherham. So I've done my average earnings over the last few weeks. I've done that by like once lunchtime, 1 o'clock had tipped. So nothing as yet. I've bid on a few jobs, but because I've done my average, I mean, I want to earn more than that each day. I've done my average for the day. I'm trying to be a bit more selective in what I am bidding for this afternoon. Being a bit too eager, I think, sometimes. And like this job this morning, I should have really bid more. It was worth more. I was on top of it. I'm sure I could have got it for more. So trying to be a bit more selective, see where that gets me. If I don't get anything the rest of the day, it's not the end of the world, you know. I've done okay money today. So yeah, see how I get on. Alright, it's Wednesday evening now, so I was sat in Tesco car park, and it went a bit quiet on the CX, and then it got to 3 o'clock. I bid on a few jobs, but like I said, I was being selective, I wasn't just bidding on anything. I got to 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock's when I start to think about the following day if I've not got something. So my home location's obviously set to the Midlands or wherever I set it last. So the app will only send me jobs for the morning for West Midlands, which is no use to me when I'm up in Rotherham. So I changed my settings. You can't do in the app. You have to log into the website on your phone via Google Chrome or whatever. Changed where my location on that. So then I start getting jobs through. I changed it to Rotherham, so I start getting jobs around here for the morning. Because I was thinking, if I don't get anything this afternoon, I need something lined up for the morning. So I did that, and a job popped up from Rotherham, just a few miles. Well, yeah, a few miles from where I was. And there's a job to Scotland, West Kilbride, 280 miles, short wheelbase job. So I put a bid on that. I suppose people say it's dodgy going to Scotland, but I'm going to chance it. Been there once before, and I didn't get a return load. That was before COVID. I'm going to give it another try. So that was 280 miles. Also at 75p, it was £211. So I knocked a bit off, which I normally do. 207 I went in. got the job. Good thing is it's picking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's a 5-hour drive. I should be tipped hopefully by midday, 1 o'clock. It's 35 miles west of Glasgow, so I'll just start trundling back towards Glasgow and hopefully pick some up coming south. And it's Thursday, so it's not as if I can still go anywhere as long as it's south. I don't really need to head to the Midlands. If it was Friday, if it was Thursday, I wouldn't have gone for that job. So got that job, and then I was sitting around, had to move on from Tesco because free parking was only so many hours. So I moved down the road to Hungry Horse pub. So that's that thing about my belly, what I'm going to have for tea tonight. It's definitely tea because I'm up north, it's not dinner, it's tea time. Parked outside this Hungry Horse, getting towards 5. I thought, right, that's it for the day. One job, 157, not the end of the world. And then a short wheelbase job pinged up from Sheffield, 7 miles down the road, back to Rotherham. So short wheelbase jobs normally 40 minimum, and I went in at 30 again. So I think that's again being a bit too eager. But I thought it's probably going to take an hour unless something goes wrong. I'm just killing time anyway. So I went in at 30, sure enough got the job. Ended up taking me 45 minutes. That was from a printer's to a UK mail depot. Really easy job, 45 minutes, 30 quid, 14 miles, so over £2 a mile. And the drop to UK mail depot was half a mile from where I was sat outside this pub ready to go in for my tea. So I'm back where I was, just about to get in the back of the van, freshen up, get changed into some different clothes and go and sit in a pub, have something nice to eat on the government half price deal. So thank you, Rishi Sunak. Might even have a drink tonight. And then up at dawn's crack, and then off to Bonnie, Scotland. Right, Thursday lunchtime now, sort of midday-ish. Yeah, nice drive today. Picked up from this place in Rotherham, just like an industrial unit, a few panels of glass and like a glass rod or something. It was all bubble wrapped. So yeah, that was pick up 7. I was there 10 to 7. I was on the road by 7, so ideal. Real nice drive up here. It's a good thing about starting soon. Roads are really quiet. Got past Leeds. Nice drive up the M1 and then to Scotch Corner, cut across the A66, which is a really nice road, across through the Pennines, beautiful scenery, over to the M6 for a bit, and then up the A74M, I think it is probably my favourite motorway in the country. I've driven because it's always really quiet, 3 lanes, and yeah, it's quite picturesque. And then cut across over here, West Kilbride now, which is another beautiful spot, West Coast.
I'm a violinist, producer, and singer.
Phoebe Bridges.
I would describe myself as like an indie rocker.
We've each picked an hour of tracks that are fully endorsed and recommended.
So when I tipped on this one, I actually didn't check the paperwork. They were in a bit of a rush in the pickup location, and they only had 2 glass panels, not 3 glass panels, so I had to ring that in. Hopefully there's no issues there. I mean, it wasn't not really my issue, it's theirs, you know. Yeah, but strange thinking, like yesterday morning I was southeast, not far from the southeast coast, Dover and all that. Now I'm right up in Scotland, 36 hours later. An absolutely beautiful spot, so I couldn't pass. I need to really get back to Glasgow because that's where I'm more likely to pick up a job, but I can't drive past this coastline without stopping to have a quick look, so I'll just quickly show you that. Right, so gale today. So there'll be loads of wind noise, I know. Yeah, and a town over there, I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, beautiful spot. Definitely had to stop for 5-10 minutes. Put the pressure back on. Drossen, that was the name of the place. South of where I was on the beach, but I'm not on the beach anymore. After spending 5-10 minutes looking around, enjoying the beach, we've driven back towards Glasgow, 30 miles ish, sort of Paisley area, to perch somewhere where I'm more likely to get a job. In the Morrison's supermarket. The meal deal update, second one of the week. Egg mayonnaise salad, pineapple chunks, and an innocent smoothie. So that's really pretty healthy. Yeah, so I'm a bit concerned because I thought Glasgow, even though it's quiet up here, it's hard to get a job. It's like absolutely dead. Probably a job every 20 minutes, maybe a job every half hour pings up. So I'm a bit concerned, but I've done 207 for the day off of a short wheelbase job, 280 miles, obviously a bit of dead miles getting here, 30 miles. Obviously the worry now is that I don't get a good job or a job going south. So I've set my location in the settings to Glasgow, so I should get notifications for the morning. Hopefully the rest of this afternoon, it's 2:30 now, I can snag a job going south, ideally today, but even if it's something for the morning to get it booked in, I'll take that and then just chill out for the rest of the day. The tiredness is definitely catching up with me now. Thursday, still not sleeping well in the back of the van. So yeah, pretty shattered now. Just looking forward to getting home. So yeah, fingers crossed something comes up. Well, the crossed fingers didn't work, I'm afraid. Still sat in the same Morrison's. So if you're wondering how busy the CX is in Scotland, as I was on this showing, this day I've spent up here since I got this area sort of midday, bit before. It's now 5 o'clock. Very little is popping up. So I've perched here. Morrison's 2:30. It's now 5 o'clock. And in that time, so on my settings, anything from a motorbike all the way up to medium wheelbase van, I'll get a notification. And I've set my home address to this area, so I should get stuff for the morning as well. And since 2:30, I reckon maybe half a dozen have popped up. One of which has been for today, all the others have been for today or the day after. It even got to the point where I started to think, is it not working properly? Rang the CX on their helpline and they did a little search and says, yeah, we've only got jobs showing for tomorrow on there. And said, yeah, it's pretty quiet in that area at the moment, which surprises me because what I like to do if I'm going in an area, if I've got a job booked in, is I like to look on the CX homepage. So not in the app, but on the homepage, don't log in. And you can look on a map there, live loads, and it'll show you have a list or a map. And if you do, it looks something like this. Yeah, so that map's kind of showing a bit of a heat map on their webpage, shows everything on the system. So from a motorbike up to a 7.5 ton truck on a career exchange. But it gives you a gauge normally. I've used it in the past to see how busy an area is likely to be, but looking at that, it's showing there's quite a few jobs there compared to other places I've used it and stuff, but the amount of jobs actually on the ground is nowhere near, so I don't think I'll be relying too much on that in the future. Put it that way. Another thing about up here is when I look on the app itself, so not the website through Google Chrome or whatever, but the actual app, and on the Who's Around You, there's a lot of vans in and around like this part of Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh, that sort of main populated area of Scotland. There's a lot of vans here considering so little's coming up, so they're fighting for scraps, I think. So I've had to admit defeat. It's 5 o'clock now. I'm going to trundle south at 56 mile an hour, van in eco mode, so I don't burn much fuel. Something might pop up along the way and I might pull over and see if I can bid. But basically I'm going to head sort of Preston area, Lancashire, so I'm ready in the morning, because it's pointless, I think, staying up here, tramping up here, hanging around tomorrow morning on a very slim chance of getting a job. I might as well just head south and take the dead miles on the chin. So that's Thursday done. Alright, Friday morning now, so actually feeling a bit more positive today, this morning. I was a bit annoyed with myself yesterday for going up to Scotland. Didn't turn out well, but I took a chance. Didn't work out, just need to move on. Had a bit of a breakthrough last night. Actually had a good night's sleep in the back of the van. Partly because I was just so tired. I think I'm just finally getting used to it doesn't feel so odd, so get more of a decent night's sleep. So slept from 10:30 till 6:30, other than being woken up by a really heavy rainstorm shower coming through. Yeah, so that was a big win. 9:30 now. I've done my first job of the day. On the way down last night, there was a job in Lancaster. Lancaster's a bit out of the way for most of the northwestern towns. It was a small van job, Lancaster to Lancaster, 1 mile, £30. It says paid £30. I thought that was quite generous for a small van job, but it was still on there this morning. I thought maybe, it's just one of them jobs it's sold and they haven't taken it off, and it's a bit too far to go for 30 quid, but then it was taken off and put back on at 40 quid. And I was down in Preston. It's like 20 miles from Preston, so it was a 20-mile drive up here. The job was 1 mile for 40 quid, so 40 quid a mile. Picking up a residential address, just some camera equipment, a couple of small bags. Let's say another residential address a mile around the corner, 40 quid. So I'm now sat in Preston. I just tramped again last night. My location was just a residential area, so I didn't bother filming it, and you don't want to be filming it because people wonder what the hell you're up to, obviously, because you're parked up outside houses, so it's best avoided. Right, final update for the week. I'll do the summary later on in the weekend before I post the video. So I was sat in Lancaster, having just done that 1 mile, £40 small van job in Lancaster. So yeah, sat in Lancaster, quite a lot of jobs pinging up. Nice to see, it's still quite early in the morning. Is it 9, 10ish? Loads of jobs pinging up all over the northwest and stuff, so that's good to see. Northwest is busy. And a job pinged up in Wigan. I thought, I'm not sure how far Wigan is, but I looked into it. It was one of those strange jobs. It was post Wigan to Shrewsbury, short wheelbase job. It's like 60 miles, but like you look in the notes and it's a very different job. It's multi-drop, 7 stops, 210 miles. But I was like 40 miles and 15 minutes away from it, so I thought I'm unlikely to get it. So I worked out at 80p, I think it was. It worked out at £200, including the getting there miles and the 210 loaded miles. So I went in at 197 for it, thinking but I also, because I've done multi-drop, I put in the comments my one little line to sell myself. I have got multi-drop experience, which is true. And he phones me and he says, how far away? And I says, well, it's going to take me 50 minutes to get there, but that was it. It was pick up no later than 10:30. So yeah, I could just about get there in time for that. So I said I can be there at 10:30, and he says, great, okay, can you do it for 190? So yeah, it took 190 for 210 miles, loaded miles, still over 75p a mile. In the end, I ended up doing 194 miles, so it's close to £1 a mile. That's the beauty of multi-drop. Generally, you can get a better rate in terms of pounds per mile. It took me until just after 6 to do it. I got to a depot at 10:30. So that's like 7.5 hours on the job for 190 quid. So that works out all right, I think. Yeah, well above £25 an hour. So yeah, multi-drop, dropped in, so picked up in Wigan from like a food warehousey place. It was delivering to restaurants, cafes, bars. So I did 1 in Knutsford, over to Crewe for 1, 3 in Chester. The problems, it started to get difficult, a bit difficult in Chester, because there were like 2 of the drops, or all 3 actually, were like in town. Chester's a really narrow streets kind of town, ancient town, but it actually turned out all right. 1 all the way over in North Wales, in Colwyn Bay, or Ross-on-Sea, which is a bit of a step back in time for me, because it used to be my local, because I'm from that part of the world. I went to college just down the road, and that was the pub we used to go to play pool and for a cheeky underage pint. And I think the pub actually got shut down once for selling drinks to underage college students, but yeah, now it's part of a swanky sort of gastro pub chain, so it's very different to when I used to go in there. And from there, the last drop was in Shrewsbury. That was a bit of a pain as well, town centre. but it's alright in the end. Got it done, and now I'm finished up just under 40 miles from home. So that's a lot closer in Lancaster, so I'm quite happy with that. 40 dead miles to get home on the end of a working week. Happy with that. So I did 40 in the morning on that small van job. 190 for the multi-drop job. I'm heading home now. Knackered. It's caught up with me again. So just a summary to do now, but yeah, quite a good earnings week. But yeah, I'll leave that to the summary. Alright. Right, bit of a busman's holiday for me this weekend. Spent Saturday helping my brother move house. Sunday now, so I've managed to get time to tot up the figures and do a weekly summary. So earnings for the week, so I worked Monday to Friday, so 5 days. I managed to stay at home on a Monday, obviously, and then 3 nights out tramping, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Back home Friday evening. So my takings for the week were up compared to the last few weeks. I did £996. That was my takings, obviously, as I keep saying. So Monday 207, Tuesday 165, Wednesday 187, Thursday 207, and Friday was the best day at 230. Best paying job was £207. I had 2 jobs that paid that much. The Scotland trip, which I'll come on to, and the Monday trip down the wait and return job. So that was a nice job. Monday was a good day. Lowest was 30, which was that really short wheelbase job that I probably priced a bit cheap. Miles 1,636 miles from leaving on a Monday to getting back on a Friday. So that's everything loaded on dead miles, which was massively increased by my silly trip to Scotland. So because of them miles, even though my takings were up, my pence per mile, taking into account all mileage, let's say, loaded and unloaded, was 61 pence a mile. So it was 68 last week, it was 62 in the 3 days that I first went back on the CX post-COVID. So yeah, to be expected really. So that was my takings for the week. I do general notes on the CX. I'd say it's, other than Scotland, I'd say it's getting quite busy. It's hard to tell because I'm obviously darting all around the country. I don't really know where I'm going to tip up. But there's a few things that made me think, shippers are starting to struggle in certain areas. But maybe that'll always be the case. It's just the case of how it works out. There was that Lancaster job where they struggled to get a short wheelbase, a small van to cover a job where they said they'll pay 30 quid. Ended up paying 40 quid for it. For me to do it, it was literally 1 loaded mile, but Lancaster's slightly out of the way, but not massively. And then when I first tipped up in Rotherham, can't remember what day it was, a job pinged up Sheffield, just down the road from Rotherham to Scunthorpe, and then going on to London. And I bid on it, and they phoned me up. I didn't get the job in the end, but they did phone me up. And I said, yeah, it's a job going Sheffield to London. I says, oh yeah, the one via Scunthorpe. And he said to me, well, to be honest with you, there isn't actually a pickup in Sheffield. They're just struggling to get somebody in Scunthorpe to do it. So it's Scunthorpe to London. So the shipper would basically put a longer job on, presumably pay more, just to get the job covered. So presumably they were struggling to get someone in and around Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe's a bit out of the way, but not massively out of the way, Been there before and picked up a job pre-COVID. So yeah, that's promising signs from an owner-driver's point of view. So yeah, I just want to say a bit, ask a question to people who watch this. Really want your input on this. Obviously, everything I do on this video, I'm on these updates. I really want, up for feedback and comments and criticisms, as long as it's constructive. So I always feel like you can leave notes below, and a lot of people do, and thanks for that. I really want your input on Scotland. Totally regret it now, but I knew it was a risk. So I drove up there, 280 loaded miles, and I probably did say another 215, say, dead miles to get out of there and get back down to the northwest Lancaster. Obviously, I took the decision on the Thursday evening to drive back that night. I could have just stayed in Scotland and on the hope that I was going to get a job on a Friday morning. But I didn't want to be waiting around. I did pre-COVID. I did go up to Scotland on a Thursday, first thing in the morning. Never got a job going south, so I drove all the way back to the Midlands empty, and I didn't want that to happen again. But I'd like to know, people who've been doing this, do you go to Scotland? I've heard some people say if you go, you need to make the money on the way up, because if you get something coming down, it's going to be lower rate. How would you price a job differently to how you normally do? And would you actually win work like that going up to Scotland? Interested to know. I don't think I'll be going to Scotland now for the foreseeable. I think the furthest north I'm going to go now is like Preston, Burnley, Blackburn kind of way, maybe Lancaster, and then on the other side I'll go up to Newcastle. There's plenty around there, Middlesbrough, Smoggies and Sunderland. Northumberland, I think you'll be alright up there. Yeah, so that's my thoughts of the week. Thanks for watching. If you watched so far, it's, like I say again, it's a week in a life, but for a full week. And thanks everyone for watching. And I noticed I've now got over 60 subscribers, which I'm really happy about. And a lot of the subscribers are people whose videos, or whatever you want to call them, I've been watching before I started doing this and when I got into being an owner driver myself. So yeah, it's good to have them subscribed. So thanks very much. That's it for this week.